How's everyone feeling? I have to apologize. I've lost my voice a little bit. Welcome to the 2018 Toronto International Film Festival. My name is Michael Lerman. I'm one of the platform selection committee here. And I'm really excited to welcome you to the screening of The Innocent. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that we're on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of New Credit and the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Huron-Wendat. And we're so excited and thankful to be working with the community every day of every year. I also want to let you know that this film is eligible for the Toronto Platform Prize, which is sponsored by Air France, so I want to thank them. I want to also let you know that it's eligible for the Girls People's Choice Award, and you can vote for your favorite film by going to tiff.net/vote. And I also want to acknowledge the generous support of Swiss Film, that are supporting all the Swiss films in the program, and Kinology, who provided us with this print. This is a really interesting piece of work, and it's a fascinating character study. And I'm not going to say too much beforehand because I think we're going to have some good discussion afterwards. But I'm pretty excited to have the director here this morning, so I'd like to bring to the stage now Simon Jaquemet.
Good morning. Yeah, I'm very happy that you are here so early to see the film, and I hope it, or maybe I even hope a little bit that it will kind of ruin your day, but in a good way. Yes. And we will talk about it after.
Well, thank you. That's good. I'd like to welcome back to the stage Simon Jaquemet. I guess I want to start with asking about your actress, as so much of the film hinges on her. What was your process kind of like working with her? Was there a lot of preparation? Was there a lot of rehearsal?
I mean, she's very busy because she works in a theater and she has shows almost every night. So I think we had like maybe a week of rehearsal, still quite good. And the casting process was really long. So I, even when I saw her the first time, I thought that it would be her quite immediately. But still, until I decided, finally, I still did like 3 rounds of casting with her with different people. Like, and I think there it was already also rehearsals and even filming that and doing like almost short films. So yeah.
Did you do rewrites of the script throughout the process of rehearsal, or was it kind of set in stone at that point?
I mean, nothing big, but of course, all the dialogues. Of course, we went through everything and tried to change it if an actor had a problem with it. Like said, I wouldn't say it like this or something. That I would change. But I think bigger script changes I didn't do, no.
Was it a long writing process before that, or how long?
Yeah, I mean, I started writing this really long ago, maybe even 10 years or something. But it was just like a 1-page idea. And then and when I really picked it up and really started writing intensively, it went kind of fast. It was maybe a year, a bit more, yeah.
And I want to ask about the if you did research for the kind of religious background in the film.
Yes, yeah. I mean, because I didn't grow up with this background. It's really something that I was really curious about, and while writing, or even kind of before I went, maybe for a year, I went almost every Sunday to one of those like evangelical churches, and I went to, I mean, in Zurich there is one that is huge, that is kind of a youth church where I mean this whole concert is inspired by that, so that was very impressive. And then maybe my main church was kind of a Pentecostal church, yeah. And
were they involved at all in the production too?
No, because I mean I just went undercover, but there, and at some point I really asked them and said, okay, I'm researching for a film, and could I wanted to speak with the priest, and then I had a very interesting talk with him for a few hours, but of course he was kind of scared, and after this talk he wanted to read the script, and which in the end I didn't send, but and there was, during the casting, we had another guy coming for the casting who is also a priest in the church, and he read the script, and he was quite angry, but he was still cool enough to give me like really good feedback, that I did even use, like that I changed some scenes, like how like he found stuff that he said is completely wrong from a theological point of view, and actually changed that. So yeah.
Cool. I'm going to open it up to the audience. Does anybody have any questions? Right here.
I'm just curious. The bargain at the end. Did she give up her soul, or did the other guy?
So the question is, the bargain at the end, did she give up her soul?
I mean, I won't answer this question. Of course, I think, of course, the intention of this ending is to really put this very clear question to the audience, like, and I don't want to answer it. I think there are a lot of different interpretations. I mean, of course, the most obvious ones, like, okay, maybe in the end it was God or the devil, or but there are more. I mean, I heard very cool interpretations of the ending, and I am aware of that, and that's what I wanted. Yes.
Right here. So the question was, can you talk a little bit about the parallel story of the monkey and what we're trying to achieve with that piece?
Yeah, I mean, I think the monkey entered the film kind of quite intuitively, because I read about this Italian doctor who wants to do the head transplant of a human, and this was really kind of haunting me for a long time, and I started researching about that, and I found out that they had actually, I think they did it twice, like this kind of head transplant on monkeys, and I found this so terrible. And at first it was like in the film as something that she would see on TV or something. It was kind of just going in parallel, and then at some point I thought, like, no, why on TV? She can do that, and so it's not so much a conceptual thing, but it's rather intuitively. I thought it kind of fits, because it's probably like the easiest way to see it is a bit the metaphor for herself, like being transplanted into a life that doesn't fit her somehow, and in the end she maybe gets her head back on the right body, kind of.
Right here.
Oh yes, I really enjoyed the film. I was curious about Andreas. So, was Andreas really alive, or was it really just her mental illness?
So the question is Andreas really alive?
Yeah, I think
if you feel comfortable answering that.
No, I mean, it's the same. It's all the same concept. Like, I didn't want to. I mean, I wanted to make the film like that. That everything you see is like very much from her perspective. It's like, and I didn't want to introduce a layer of truth that is superior to how she experiences it. So I guess it depends a bit on you, but of course if you follow the character, it's probably like that you think he is alive, but then doubting yourself, like, okay, did I imagine that, or did she imagine that? So I wanted to really keep that and to not reveal from a director's perspective, like this is now the right way how to see that. So so I'm quite happy if this remains kind of as unclear as it probably remains for the character until the end. If this guy sits next to her in the car.
It was just that he burst in, you know, at the right moment in terms of like how would he know to go to the house and that she would be in the room, and, you know, all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to find kind of a realistic interpretation for everything. So the very realistic way to see it would be this guy was just kind of very close to her house all the time, like in the forest or wherever, and he lived just in this motel that is more or less 100 meters from her house. So he saw, of course, everything, like when she put up the rocket or came home, and so that would be the realistic way to see it. But it's yeah.
Are there any other? Right here?
I thought you illustrated some really interesting,
So the question is, are you a parent yourself, and if that informed the relationship you see on screen?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I have 2 kids, but they're very small. So they are like, the older is 4 years and the younger is 8 months. So it's a very different relationship than in the film, like to a kind of an adult daughter. So maybe it was rather... Yeah, maybe this relationship between them maybe was rather inspired from the other side, like from my experiences as a teenager with my parents, or like with friends and parents, like this kind of distanced relationship. Yeah.
Right here.
I was curious about the significance of her burying the meat.
So the question was about the significance of her burying the meat in the field.
I mean, this question comes, I mean, almost everyone asks me, and I must say, it's really just a very intuitive thing. I mean, for me, it was like, she feels, it was just like she feels kind of sick, and she doesn't want to have this meat in her house anymore, and kind of buries it. But I think it was intended to be. I mean, this is probably the first moment in the film where kind of reality starts to melt a little bit when you see this kind of emergency signal and everything. So yeah.
Right here.
So at one point, it looked like she rubbed Andreas's neck, and there was like a lump there. Is that going too far? Does he have a head transplant?
So
Yeah,
at one point,
yeah.
it looks like she rubs his neck, and there's a lump there.
Yeah. I mean, this was not written. I mean, this is something that happened because funny enough, this guy had this thing. I mean, I think he had a little thing in his neck that they had to operate out at some point. So he has this kind of scar. And of course it was fitting, but this was not in the script. I think even this shot when she kind of caresses his neck was one of the few things that were probably improvised during the shoot. We thought, okay, it would be really nice to shoot that. And of course it adds, because all of a sudden you think, has he been, has something happened to him too? And I really like, and even in this shot, he even has this like almost like horns or something, a little bit. But this is also just something that this guy has.
Did you know that was there when you cast him?
I didn't really pay attention that much on these details.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe this scar, I didn't see it maybe during casting, because I don't ask him to
Show
get
you his
naked
neck,
or
yeah.
something. And but I mean, also what's kind of funny to tell is that this guy is actually a non-actor, and he was in prison for like 8 years, something. So
wow.
it was but not for murder, but for drug crimes, just breaking in and stealing money.
Right here.
So I had a question about the technology that you used to portray the monkeys. It seemed like it must have been a really expensive part of your filmmaking, but that I don't know. But I'm curious.
Yeah.
Were they real? Was it CGI?
So the question was about the technology part that you used to portray the monkeys, and whether they're real or not.
I mean, it was a mix really of a real monkey, a puppet, and CGI. And it's hard to say if it was expensive. I think we managed to make it relatively cheap in quite a high quality, because there were really some people who were really getting into it and working on it almost a year or something. So it was in the beginning it's just a real monkey, and then whenever the monkey is paralyzed, it's a puppet, but like the face of the monkey is replaced by the real monkey, and then and the ending I won't tell you because it might spoil, but it's always this mixture of puppet, CGI, and real. Like we try to use as much of the real monkey as possible. Yeah.
I thought there was one over here, but we'll take one last one here.
I'll never forget this.
Thank you.
How long did it take you to actually shoot?
How long was the shoot?
It was. I think it was like between 7 and 8 weeks, which is like, for Swiss standards, it's rather long, and probably for US standards, it's very short. I don't know. No, it was 7 weeks, and of course a lot of preparation. I don't know. We started the real pre-production like maybe half a year before, and the casting a year before, and then the shoot was relatively quick because it was really planned out quite well. But it was really interesting because I want to shoot as much as possible, like in sequence of how the film. And we couldn't do it completely, but we really managed to shoot it quite in sequence. And we also we wanted to have bad weather as much as possible. And we were lucky, but we had also enough time to sometimes really say, okay, we don't shoot because the weather is too nice. And yeah.
Was it lengthened by, did you do a lot of takes? Was it long by Swiss standards because you did a lot of takes on things?
Yeah, I mean, the whole film is almost everything was shot like always the whole scene in kind of a choreography, and some scenes are like this and some have a little bit of cutting, but it was always long takes and almost always the whole scene, and but not many angles. So often it was just one angle or one movement or maybe two. So that's my way of working, doing the whole scene, and they may be doing quite a lot. I mean, a lot means like around 10 takes, but not kind of 20 different camera perspectives.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming and sharing it with us.
Thank you.